Scream 7 is out. It was a huge success over the weekend. Some mixed reviews, and I think it comes down to the killers. So what I'm gonna do today is rank every Ghostface killer from Scream 1 to Scream 7. Obviously, there's gonna be a lot of spoilers here, including Scream 7 spoilers. So if you haven't seen Scream 7 yet, you're definitely gonna wanna skip this. Let me start off by saying I did like Scream 7. I really liked it a lot, actually. Now, I have the same gripe, it seems, as everyone else, and that is the killers. So we'll see right away that the killers are ranked really low in this movie. Honestly, it was really disappointing, and it almost ruined a very, very good movie. But let's get started. Before we do, I do want to give a quick shout out to Angelina Tyler from Scream 3. Technically, she's not a killer, but when the movie was originally made and shot, she was the original killer. She dies in the movie, but I believe in a deleted scene, or they shot a scene where that was actually a fake death. She actually helped Roman Bridger. Shout out to her. I think she would have been a cool killer. It would be nice to see what the motive was. So I'm gonna rank every Scream killer from worst to best, and let's start off with Scream 7. We have number 16. His name is Marco Davis from Scream 7. He's the orderly. We only see him once for about, 60 seconds in the movie, and Sydney and Dale go to the mental hospital where they try to see if Stu Macher is really alive, and he says, hey, this is Jane Doe. Anyways, right away you know something's going on with him, but there's really no motive for him. Who is this guy? Honestly, if he had maybe one or two more scenes, or we really understood his motive, he wouldn't have been such a bad killer. But in the meantime, we don't know who he is. He takes off his mask and you're like, oh, that's the orderly, which kind of makes sense. But why? Why did he want to kill? Was he crazy? And just the motive was kind of stupid. He was barely in the movie. And again, this is one of the worst parts of Scream 7 is the killer reveal. There's a couple more killers here that I'll talk about in a second, but in last place, it's Marco Davis, the very last killer from Scream 7. Bummer. All right, next we have Jason Carvey from Scream 6, and I am counting him as a killer because he does the opening kill scene in Scream 6. He takes his mask off at the beginning in the movie, and it's kind of a shock when you see the movie. You're like, wait, we know who the killer is right away? And the other killers end up playing Ghostface with him and end up killing him. And it kind of doesn't make sense. I guess the idea is they didn't want any other Scream killers. It was kind of stupid. I like the idea that he could have been the killer throughout the movie, but they have a totally motivation. So Jason Carvey, good concept, but pretty poor execution. He's number 15. All right, number 14 is Jessica Bowden from Scream 7. She's the crazy neighbor who went on a killing rampage. Her husband was abusive and her son was annoying her, so she killed her son. I think that she could have been a good killer, but like the motivation was kind of dumb and you only have a couple scenes with her. If we really understood more about her and her past and her friendship with Sydney, I think she would have been a much better killer. In fact, when I was watching this movie, I'm like, wait, do I know her from something? By something, I mean something from a previous Scream movie. Like, was she a main character? Because they kind of treated her like you already know who she is. And I guess you should do that for all characters, but I just didn't understand her. I didn't really understand, like, I kind of got her motivation, but it was kind of dumb. She's the third worst killer. Now, every killer going forward from here, I at least liked a little bit. Those three were really bad, especially in Scream 7. There is a third killer in Scream 7. He's not up there yet. I'm actually going to talk about him. So in 13th place, we have Ethan Landry. He is one of the 3, or technically 4 killers from Scream 6. And I didn't hate their motivation. Like I said, for every killer going forward, I kind of like. Out of the 3 of them, he just kind of seems like, who cares? Like the sister/daughter, which I'll go into a little bit, it was kind of cool, like the way she died and how she was part of everything. But Ethan Landry was kind of a bummer. It seemed like they just threw him in there just to kind of twist up the narrative. I still liked him. He was okay. Like, he was good, but he just, of the 3 main killers in that movie, he was at the bottom. All right, next we have Detective Wayne Bailey, who's Quinn Bailey's father, And I liked him a lot. At this point, I really like all the killers. And I like the motivation of Richie died in the last movie, so he's trying to get revenge for Richie, who is crazy himself. And obviously, this whole family is nuts and murderous. So I really liked him. I like the motivation as the angry father. It kind of reminds me of Nancy Loomis, who's much later in the list. I liked him a lot. He wasn't perfect, but he's in the movie a lot. He has a good story, and supposedly his daughter dies. So it was a pretty good twist. I liked it. So, you know, pretty good option here. All right, next is the last killer from Scream 6, and that's Quinn Bailey. The reason why she's the best of everyone in Scream 6 is because she's the funny, slutty roommate who gets murdered halfway through the movie. And her motivation is whatever, the same as her brother and a little less than her dad. But I just like the idea that she gets killed in the middle of the movie and she comes back alive. It's a really cool reveal in Scream 6. I don't particularly like Scream 6. In fact, it's my least favorite of all the movies. I did like that she was still alive. I did like the killer reveal. So she's up there. She's the best of Scream 6. Now, the next one is Carl Biggs. He's the last killer in Scream 7. And in fact, every single killer from this point has been from Scream 7 or Scream 6. I like the idea that Carl is just some crazy mental patient who they recruited, and he's not just crazy, he is a psychopathic killer. He killed other people in the past. He doesn't have any motivation other than he's crazy. Now, if he was revealed as the killer at the end of the movie, it would have ruined it. So this is one saving grace of Scream 7, is that he gets revealed as a killer very early on after a couple nasty murders, and it's like, wait, he's dead. They found him. And they just found out he was a crazy patient. So I really like this idea of like killers don't have motivations. They're just crazy mental patients. The bad thing about Scream 7 is the other two killers needed to have a better motivation. But Carl Biggs, good killer, my favorite of Scream 6 and 7. And overall, I thought he was a pretty good addition. All right, now everyone going forward for sure is a really good killer. Like, these are top tier killers. And my next one is Amber Freeman. Now, the only reason she's not higher on this list is because I like all the other killers better, and I don't fully understand her motivation. She's just kind of like a crazy girlfriend. Like, and when I say girlfriend, she's like the crazy girlfriend to Tara. But what a cool reveal when you find out that it's her. And at the beginning of the movie, she almost died from Ghostface, but it ends up being that this was a long recorded video with Richie. I really like Amber. The reason why she's not higher is really because I don't really understand her motivation other than she's just like a crazy sidekick character, which is all the sidekick characters are kind of at middle tier or bottom tier of those characters. Like Billy and Stu, obviously Billy's better than Stu. Jill and Charlie, obviously Charlie's better, but in this case, Amber, she's right in the middle of this list. I like her a lot. She's just not better than all the other people. Next up is the sidekick character, Charlie Walker from Scream 4. Man, when Scream 4 came out, I kind of was really disappointed in the killers. And honestly, this happens a lot. I'm always disappointed in the killers, but the more I watch the movie, the more I like them. But Charlie was the sidekick to Jill. Jill was obviously the mastermind, and Charlie was kind of the brawn, right? Jill's a teeny tiny little girl, but Charlie's a loser. He's a movie nerd. He wants to get the girl. He likes Kirby. He likes Jill. And his motivation is basically he's an angry, horny teenager. And it's hilarious. It fits perfectly with Scream. At first, I thought he was a loser and he was one of the worst killers, but I really like him. And I like him as a killer because he's such a loser. And while it's kind of stupid that he's the killer because he's a loser, it really fits perfectly with Scream. They do it well. They recognize he's a loser, and that's okay. Up next is another sidekick, and this is Mickey Altieri. Mickey is such a good killer, and he's probably one of the more menacing killers. Again, he's another sidekick to Nancy Loomis, and he's funny, he's mean, and he's crazy. He's one of the most, I'll probably say this a million times, but he's one of the most crazy of all the Scream killers. I think what's funny about him is he was recruited by Nancy Loomis. Obviously, she's the mastermind. He's kind of the brawn, and I think in the movie he does the majority of the killing. And it's just funny. He's just kind of there because he has to be. But Timothy Olyphant is such a good actor. I love him in everything he's in. I love him in Scream 2. Scream 2, by the way, is my favorite Scream movie. He doesn't really have a motivation other than he wants to be crazy and known and go to trial. And that's probably why he's not higher on the list. Again, a great killer, but just doesn't really have any motivation. Next is Roman Bridger. And for the longest time, Roman was like the bottom of the barrel killer. And I think for a lot of people, Scream 3 was one of the worst Screams. And the more I watch it, I'm like, I absolutely love this movie. It's probably right in the middle for me, but I love Scream 3 a lot. Roman Bridger at first is such a whiny little baby. Like, he's the stepbrother. Sydney never met him, so when he takes off his mask, Sydney's like, who are you? Like, I don't know who you are. Like, who is this guy? And he's the director, but he's actually Sydney's half-brother. His motivation is probably the best, or maybe the second best to all of the killers. I love his motivation. I love the idea that he set up all the killings in Scream 1 with Billy and Stu. And he even helped kill his own mother, who's Sydney's mother. Like, mind blown. It takes a while. That this movie's like 26 years old, and it takes a while to actually really appreciate how well written this is. At first, it's kind of lame, but the more I watch it, the more I'm like, this is awesome. Roman is an awesome killer. He's a loser, and that kind of takes it down a bit. Like, he's really like a whiny loser in the movie, and that kind of ruins it a tiny bit, but other than that, he's one of the best killers out there. All right, let's get the top 5 started. This is Stu Macher, the original sidekick to the mastermind, which is Billy. And Stu is crazy. He's like a crazed, sexed, horny teenager who likes to kill because he kind of thinks it's fun. He's kind of crazy. He's a huge brat. He's a little crazy, but Stu is such a good killer. You know, we all know about the lines at the end of the movie where Billy throws the phone at him and he's like, "You threw a phone at me, dick." And then he picks up the phone. He's like, "You didn't really call the cops, did you? My parents are gonna be so mad at me." We all know that was improvised, and it was such a good line, and he's crazy. And I think what I like about him is he's a big guy. All of Ghostface, I'll get to this in a second, but all of the Ghostface are like, in the Ghostface mask, they're like 6'1" big dudes who are mean and tough and strong. But he's a big, tough, strong guy, but he's also like flails around and falls around, and Sydney beats the shit out of him when he's in his costume. Such a good killer. Stu Macher, the original sidekick. He's number 5. Number 4 is Nancy Loomis. She's the original mastermind to Scream 2. She's the killer that you find out she's a reporter the whole time, but Sydney never sees her. The whole time Gail sees her, she doesn't know who she is. She's the new Gail Weathers, who you think like, oh, she's gonna take over what Gail's role in this new franchise. But no, she's actually Nancy Loomis. She went through a lot of weight loss and facial surgery or whatever to look different, so Gail didn't recognize her, but Sydney recognized her right away. And her motivation essentially is Sydney killed her son. And Sydney's mom slept with Billy's dad. Such a good motivation. Like, she's the original angry parent. And I really like her a lot. Again, she's like a smaller framed woman in the suit, which we'll talk about in a second once we get to Jill. But I really like her. She's number 4. Number 3, and these 3 you could probably move around based on what are your favorites, but Richie Kirsch. I love Richie. The first time I watched Scream 5, I didn't love his motivation. I did like the reveal, but I didn't like his motivation. Like, who cares? Like, he's a crazy Scream fan, or Stab fan, I should say. He found out that Sam is Billy's bastard daughter, but I love him. He's crazy. He's a Stab fan. He's been watching the Stab movies, and it's a little meta like they do in the Scream universe. So I ended up liking his character more and more and more. And just when you think about everything that happened in the movie and the way that movie was written, for Richie to be the killer was so brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love it. You have Amber in the background doing some random killings, and Richie is kind of the mastermind here. So one of the best masterminds. Everyone here going forward is masterminds, obviously. I love Richie a lot, and every time I watch that movie, I like it more. I really like Scream 5. At first, Scream 5 was just a good one, but I like it more and more. It's probably number 3 in my favorites after Scream and Scream 2. Scream 2 being my favorite. Number 2 is Jill Roberts. Let me say this before I talk about how much I love her as a killer. She is like a teeny tiny little girl. And I swear, like when she walks up in the Ghostface mask, she's 6 foot tall. And it's almost like a comedy. She takes off her mask and she's this little girl again. The fact that she was running around as a killer, you kind of just have to ignore and say like, it's a movie. Just turn off your brain a little bit. She's this super thin frame, strong girl doing all the murdering. I would like one day if they could implement a more tricky killer instead of like such a beefy, strong killer who can chase, who can fight. That would be fun. Anyways, Jill is hilarious. She's absolutely crazy. She's jealous of Sydney because Sydney's a victim and she wants to be a victim. I absolutely love her motivation. I love how crazy she is when she throws herself against the wall and pulls out her hair. She's absolutely nuts. She's hilarious. She's one of the best killers. If you ranked her number 1, I wouldn't be mad at you at all. Number 1, the best Ghostface killer in the Scream franchise. There's only one guy left. It's Billy Loomis. Now, I think I like Billy so much because he seems like a real life serial killer, right? He's crazy. He's mean. He wants sex. He wants to kill, like to get revenge on what happened to his family. And even though Sydney's mom is dead, who he originally killed, he wants to kill Sydney too. He's absolutely mean. And I think the difference with Billy is probably, I guess he's not necessarily realistic, but feels like one of the most realistic. Like Stu, even in the same movie, Stu is like a little cartoon character. He's like Shaggy. And Billy is like scary. He's mean. He seems like a real life, real world killer. I think that's what makes him number 1. Billy is one of the best killers of all time. And yes, I mean this. Like there's Michael Myers, there's Freddy, there's Jason, and then there's Billy Loomis. So I love Billy. He's one of the greatest killers of all time. He's the number 1 at the list. If you had someone else in the top of this list in the first place, I'm not going to blame you. I'm not going to be mad at you. This is just my opinion. But thanks so much for watching. I love Scream 7. Hated the killers, but loved the rest of the movie. Does that ruin the movie a little bit? I'll let you be the judge, but a lot of people like the movie. It made a lot of money. That's all I have. Thanks so much for watching. Follow for more content on horror movies, regular movies, video games. We're doing a lot of Resident Evil stuff. This is FF Media. Adios.